I'm Clifton Warren, and welcome to the Top Producer Podcast, Closing the Initial Meeting. In the previous episodes, I've discussed how to set up a meeting with a prospect, and once you're in that meeting, what do you say and how do you conduct the meeting? Today, I want to discuss how to close that meeting to hopefully move on to the second appointment. And, remember, the initial meeting with prospective clients to qualify, you want to see if they meet your minimum standards and there's a fit for you and you're a fit for them. But before you close the meeting, you also want to make sure you avoid any pitfalls that may arise. And one of the pitfalls is that if a client or prospect asks you for your opinion about politics, the marketplace, when that happens, you want to make your comments as brief and general as possible and get back on track again. This is not the time to try to impress a prospect because too many things can go wrong. For example, the recent U.S. election, if a prospect asks you about the outcome of the election, your thoughts on it, just make them brief. Don't fall in the trap of talking about what side you favor, because they may favor the other side, and all of a sudden things can go pear-shaped very quickly. So you want to make sure you get back on track, make a brief comment, and get back to gathering information. The second pitfall to avoid is that you may discover that the prospect does not fit. They do not meet your minimum qualifications. You have to unsell this appointment. And the way you unsell it is that you make it as brief as possible. You be upfront with the prospect. Let them know, look, I don't think you meet a minimum, or the type of people I prefer to work with are, and lay out your parameters. But you want to make it as brief as possible, not rude. I had a situation not long ago to where I met with a gentleman, had a great practice. And about 10 minutes into the meeting, I discovered that he was just getting out. He was closing down the business. So he was no longer a fit for me. We had a great conversation for about 10 or 15 minutes and politely moved on along the way. You want to do the same. The third pitfall you want to avoid is the bad appointment. And you're going to have appointments to where the prospect is abrupt and will not give you the time to ask the right questions you need to build trust and rapport. And if that's the case, either you need to possibly reschedule if things are, it was a bad timing, or you have to close down the appointment and so forth. Asking for your opinion, they're not qualified, or the prospects are just bad or rude. Those are the three pitfalls you want to avoid. So when it comes time to closing the initial meeting, remember this initial meeting could be face-to-face or it can be virtually. The techniques are the same. The best way to close the appointment is to thank the prospect for their time and their willingness to share information with you. Secondly, you want to restate the purpose of your meeting, which is to learn a little bit about them and their understanding and their goals and objectives. And then you want to restate your confidence and value. And then you want to suggest a second appointment to present your findings and recommendations. You see, clients, particularly in financial services, are not going to buy from you, particularly if it's a large investment or a large amount of money involved. They're not going to buy from you just because you showed up for the initial meeting. So you want to use that first meeting to just learn about them. The second meeting, you want to present your recommendations and from there. So by doing a two-step, by the way, you take the pressure off yourself. Finally, after you've closed the meeting, and if the client agrees with a second appointment, you lock that in. If they don't agree, you set a time you're going to follow up with them, a date and time to follow up with them. The follow-up, when you get back to the office, you want to make sure you follow up. And you want to follow up to by sending an email, thanking them for their time, or you can send a letter. Today, email's quicker. Everyone has email. Secondly, you want to update your management system, your contact management system, with the details of the meeting, times, dates, what you learned, that all those notes you took, they need to go somewhere. So you'll make sure they're put in a proper place. And then, when appropriate, set up a follow-up phone call. You'd be surprised how many people don't follow up. But if you are able to get that initial meeting, conduct it properly, avoid the pitfalls, close the appointment and properly follow up, you have set the stage to have a great second appointment. And that's what we'll discuss next. I'm Clifton Warren. Thanks for listening.